So hey there everybody, welcome to another episode of Test Play Review. I am your host, Johnny Mac. And so we've been gone for a while. Basically what happened is that I almost died. No, literally, like I almost died. But I'm okay now. I just had some issues with my diabetes, so you'll have to excuse the appearance, probably the sound and everything else, but these next couple of videos we're going to power through some stuff. So I can, hey, and there's some mama. So I can review some stuff and kind of, get back in the loop and things like that, because I've missed you guys and hopefully you've missed me. And if not, well, okay, that's how I feel about that. But yeah, I am feeling much better. Diabetes is just kind of one of those things that takes a toll on your body. So anyway, so today we are going to talk about, I have notes because I got some shit to share with you. And in this review, we're going to talk about this gem that I picked up, which is, and don't worry, Devin's going to put a better graphic up over here, or Devin will fix it, okay? There'll be a graphic somewhere and some gameplay, I'm sure. This is called the Order 1886 for the PlayStation 4, okay? First of all, it was a PlayStation 4 exclusive, right? And I gotta say, my throat's still dry, so I'm going to be drinking a lot in these videos too. Oh, by the way, in case you're wondering what's in the cup, no, it's not Hennessy. It is cranberry grape from Ocean Spray. It's very hydrating. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about the Order 8. Oh, God, this is going to be her. So the Order 1886, let me tell you how I procured it first of all. So it was a PlayStation exclusive when it first came out. Devin will put some stats somewhere here. We'll Google them, put them up there, like when it came out and like all that stuff. But basically, it was a PlayStation 4 exclusive, right? And it had to do with a alternate history timeline, basically. And you're part of a, typical thing where like you're part of an order, you're a knight, someone betrayed somebody, and now, people are thinking you're the traitor, and so they're trying to kill you, and you're trying to clear your name, and and it's set in the backdrop of London. Now, let me say something about this game. First of all, I purchased this gem, right? I purchased this for, I think, $8 or $10. And I am always leery of game exclusives because every time I purchase them at full price, I got burned. So that means I was paying anywhere from like, there's no such thing as a $40 video game hardly anymore. Usually that's a franchise title, and even then. Because they get you with the deluxe edition, which isn't really that. You know what? That's a rant for another episode. We'll save that, but you know what I mean. So usually you're paying like $60 on average, $50 to $60 on average, right, for an exclusive game, and sometimes even more if it's like a deluxe edition or the Jesus Wept edition, whatever, Superman, versus Batman versus Wonder Woman versus Aquaman versus Aqualad edition, whatever. So you pay all this money for it, and for me, I've gotten burned, and I gotta say, for $8, I'm not as pissy as I could be with it. Because first of all, the game is short, okay? You can beat it in probably about 4 hours. So there isn't like a lot of content. There isn't like hours and hours of fun open world, open source exploring. Like literally, it's a bunch of quick time and a little bit of melee, and that's about it. It just and I'm disappointed because it was produced by Radio Dawn, and Radio Dawn has given us such wonderful games like God of War series. So I expected a whole hell of a lot out of this little game when I found out that Radio Dawn did it. And then I got her home. I didn't play it for several weeks because I started to die, and then when I started to feel better was when I actually played it. And first of all, Okay, so this is a pet peeve that I have with some games when they do it in letterbox. And letterbox is the black bar that you'll see it in film a lot. But it's the black bars that are at the bottom and at the top of. Oh, sorry, Mama, at the screen. Now, for me, most of the time, it doesn't bother me in games. However, in this game, it bothered the piss out of me. The reason why it bothered me was because the game is so dark anyway, and I kept changing the definition of my television to make it as bright as possible. And even then, like with the letterbox, because the game is so dark, like sometimes you're maneuvering your character, and it's just really hard to like fucking see anything. And so, like you're dipping around a corner and shit, trying not to get shot by like, you know, one of the Queen's guards or whatever, and, you know, you've actually been just standing in the same spot for like 10 minutes, and it's annoying. So there's that. And then what else do I have on my notes here? Oh, so the opening sequence, first of all, the opening sequence is this water torture type sequence that your character is going through, and literally it's dreadful because it just goes on and on and on and on, and then eventually when you finally get down to some action, it's all quick time. So it's, you know, oh, he rips the chain out of the, because there's like this little what's that stone. There's like a stone tub basically, and like the chains are bolted into it, and he's able to somehow, because first of all, your character's weak as hell, right? And it's blatantly obvious that he's been tortured for a while. You know, like he can't even walk, like his little feet are dragging. He's dragging his little feet when he does try to walk. He's holding his side. He's out of breath because they're like waterboarding his ass, like they just keep dunking his head down and shit. So yeah, like he's been tortured to death, but some way somehow he's able to break free, stab one dude in the neck, and then drown the other guy in like 30 seconds, which, by the way, is some bullshit, because in the opening sequence, every time they like waterboard him, they like have him under for like 30 or 40 seconds. He doesn't drown, but he's able to drown the guy in 30 seconds. Like, okay, it just, I know it's fantasy, people, I know, but it was not as believable as I would have liked for it to have been. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So next up is the mechanics. The thing that like, for example, you mostly use guns. There's not a lot of melee, things like that. A lot of the action is quick time, which is kind of sad because you don't really get to like fight and have open melee or things like that. And when you do, it's very limited. The mechanics, I mean, they're okay. They're not the best mechanics for shooting with a gun. I mean, it's kind of difficult to aim. There's a lot of engines that have issues with their aiming apparatuses or, you know, point and shoot and things like that. But to me, like, this by far was like one of the worst ones ever. And then they would have shit like, 1 minute you would be able to run, right? And then the next minute you couldn't run, or you could half-ass run. Sometimes you could crouch. Other times you couldn't crouch. Sometimes you could duck, dodge, you know, flip it, pop it, twerk it, stop it. And then you couldn't at a pivotal point when you could use the shit, but then 30 seconds later you could use it in a stupid QuickTime event in which you didn't need to. It just made no sense. Then they had 9 million cutscenes. Now look, if the story is good or the game is really pretty, like Final Fantasy games tend to be, I am a sucker for a cutscene. I enjoy a good cutscene. However, in these, it kind of sucked because, like, a lot of times there would be, like, a cutscene within a QuickTime event, and literally, like, there would be no repercussions with QuickTime events. So, like, some guy would run up on you, right? And, like, you're in this, like, life or death, like, grip struggle and shit, and, like, you could literally put the controller down, make a sandwich, file your taxes, run to the emergency dental and get that crown replaced. Stop at Walmart. We all know Walmart is a trap, so like you're not going to be able to run in and run out. So that's at least, 45 minutes to an hour. Then stop and get gas. Come home, unload your groceries, walk your dog, take a shower, change clothes, call some friends, make some plans, and go back to the game. And you're still just locked up in this heated battle. Like they didn't kill you. Like nothing happened. Like nothing. So yeah. So there's that. Then the game, it can be kind of confusing if you are not familiar with things that start in min res, which is a term which again we'll put the pretty Wikipedia term somewhere around here, which basically means it's a film term, means in the middle. So like the game starts, the torture sequence that the lead character, I don't remember his fucking name, that's why I'm not telling you it. We'll put it right here. What was I saying? Yeah, so when it starts with the torture sequence, it's starting in the middle of the events, and then it jumps back to like the beginning, and like you figure it all out, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is that if you're kind of not used to that, like I can see how some people can be confused very easily. So I'm telling you up front that if you pick this game up, the gameplay's short, the mechanics are kind of crappy. There's a whole bunch of cutscenes at QuickTime. You don't get a lot for Melee, and it starts in the fucking middle. The game is dark. It's in a letterbox format, like it's some sort of next great, magnum opus. Like Radio Dawn, like I'm a little disappointed. Just sad. Just putting an emoji on my face. Just sad. One of those with teardrops. And then so here's a plot device. So, like I said, it's an alternate time period. And there's kind of some cool things. Like, first of all, Nikola Tesla is in it. He basically is your weaponsmith guy. So he makes all the weapons that your character gets. Jack the Ripper's in it, which if you're a history buff like me, we know he popped up in 1888 and not 1886. We just have to let it go. It's an alternate timeline, right? But the thing about it is, like, it's kind of a cross between, like, there's like modern technology, so like they have like these communicators that are like on their shoulders, all these kind of fantastical, like, it's kind of like steampunkish in a little bit of a way. So, and we know how steampunk works. It's kind of like, old technology meets new technology, you merge it together, and then you've got this hybrid technology. And so some of that shit wasn't believable because, like, for example, there's one point where like the characters, they're in these catacombs and their communicators work just crystal clear as day. Then all of a sudden they're on the fucking roof of a building and, oh, well, we're out of... How the hell are you out of... So you mean to tell me you were 30,000 leagues under the sea and you could, like, use your little communicator thing, but you was, like, 2 feet off the ground on the ceiling level and you couldn't... Okay. I have to sip on that. Because that's how I feel about it. So another plot point device that I kind of was about. So they have lichens. Of course, werewolves, as we all know them as. So basically, like, there's like these werewolf infestations, which the game really doesn't explain why they're there. They're just kind of there. But again, it's London. It's an alternate timeline. London's always got fucked up shit going on in their alternate timelines. I mean... or in their post-apocalyptic type world shit, like, look at V for Vendetta, like, you know what I'm saying? Look at, like, Clockwork Orange, like, I mean, they always got some shit, like, extra fucked up, Children of Men, just take your pick. So, they have these werewolves, right, which there's only 2 boss battles, and they're kind of punk, they're not very great, and one of them, I believe, is a battle where you battle, like, and I think they both are, actually, if memory serves me correctly, because to be fair, I played through this game in 4 hours, and I started like at like 1 in the morning. So I was done by like 5 in the morning, something like that. So yeah, so like some of the memories. That's why I had to jot some notes down. But the werewolves, they're kind of weird because, like, they'll come out, they'll attack you, and then they'll go back to their point where they started, and then they come back and attack you again. And literally, like, there's no new innovative ways throughout the game. And maybe because the game is short, the developers just didn't kind of really think to develop other strategies. But literally, you use the same strategy, over and over again to kill shit. And, like, it just was... It just was bad. Like, I really wanted to love this. I did. I really, really wanted to love it. And, I mean, for $8, I would say, like, maybe $20 even, would be the highest that I personally would pay for it. Like, it's an okay game. It's a game that, like, you can get through in a day. It's a game that you can kind of play through and like, you know, just kind of have like some mindless entertainment with it. So it does have some sort of like positive value. The game was pretty. It was a beautiful game. It was gorgeous. And also just the engine, the mechanics, it was just clunky. There's a lot of design flaws in it that are just pretty obvious. The story itself is pretty solid for the most part. It's, you know, typical story, like I said, of, you know, a knight that is set up and, you know, them basically trying to clear their name. And so you, like I said, it starts in the middle and so it goes back to the beginning so you can see how it all progresses through and then past the middle point to the end point of the game. Now, you know, in researching this game, because I wanted to see how other people felt about it, because I thought because I knew I was going to like roast this game, right? But I didn't want to just come on and be like, this game sucks and so there were a lot of mixed reviews. There were people that really liked the game, and then there were people that didn't like the game. And even though I just roasted it for filth, I will say that like there were aspects that like I enjoyed about the game. Again, the game is really, really, I'm a sucker for a very beautiful game. If a game is very, very beautiful, there are some things that I can overlook. Like, for example, just kind of the plot devices that they would use. There's one particular knight that they always try to make seem like is the traitor, basically through like contextual things like, oh, you know, oh, he's having a secret conversation with so and so, I wonder what that's about, or, you know, he's always stalking around the corner these days, you know, and like you know, like it's a red herring. But they just kind of, you know, tropes like that they keep using over and over again, and, you know, little things that like can nitpick and tear it apart. I mean, I'm going to be generous and give it a I'm going to give it some stars out of 5 stars. I don't know how many to really give it. I'm for damn sure not going to give it 5, okay? And I am not as upset as I should be about the game because I didn't pay, you know, 50, 60 bucks for it. And I think that a lot of people that, because the game has been out for a while. Again, we'll put the info, you know, stats about the game and stuff like that, like when it was released, who released it, you know, developers and all that. But, like, yeah, like if I could totally see why there were plenty of people that were upset, because they probably paid full price for the game. So like if you're paying 50, 60 bucks for a game that doesn't have, you know, a good solid, maybe, you know, 20 hours of gameplay, it has, you know, 4, barely, you know, 4, and you can just kind of power through it in an afternoon, and, you know, you have clunky mechanics, you know, it's kind of dark, so it makes it difficult. It relies a lot on cutscenes and quick time. You don't have a lot of melee. Your bosses and your enemies in general are kind of like just cheap and retarded, and like, you know, constantly they're shooting fucking guns at you, and constantly they're stormtroopers. Can't hit a target to save their life. Just can't. Got great armor, great weaponry, but just can't. So yeah, all in all, I will say this: if you come across it, if you are a history buff, if you like alternative history, alternate timeline, stuff like that, like that is kind of appealing. It's a beautiful game. For 20 bucks or less is worth, you know, just kind of taking a look at it and see what it's about. But otherwise, if you see it for more than $20, you tell them, you pick it up, right? And you go to the counter and you say, Mr. GameStop guy or girl, the devil's a lie and so are you. Because this game, Johnny Mac of Test Play Review said, this game ain't worth more than $20. $19.99 plus federal, state, and local taxes. And it's barely worth that. If I break it, I could get a new copy because I did get the 1-year warranty, so... Although if I broke it, I would not replace. I'm so sad, y'all. Like, I'm laughing because I'm that sad. It looks so good. And, you know, like, again, I'm glad that, like, I got it when I got it. I'm glad that I found out after the fact that it was a PlayStation exclusive. Because, again, exclusives fucking burn me every time. Every single... And actually, this burned me. An $8 exclusive burned me, y'all. My therapist says that I shouldn't let my blood pressure get high because that exacerbates my diabetes and then I get sick again and then I'm not on camera. So, I'm no longer going to scream about it. I will say this much. Yeah. Oh, one final thing. If you're brave enough to pick this game up, I need for you to know right now that it is about over 30 minutes before you get to some real gameplay. Just so you know. Just so you know. So I don't want you leaving a comment section below like, well, you didn't tell me that the first 30 minutes of the game I was just going to be running around doing nothing really. It's going to be a whole bunch of cut sequences, or it's going to be a whole bunch of quick time events. Why come you didn't tell me that, Johnny? I mean, I wasted $8. I could have used that on a value meal. You could have. No one put a gun to your head, sweetheart, and said you had to buy the game. I just told you why it was shitty. But it's pretty shit because it's a really pretty game. Yeah, so with that said, guys, I'm going to go. The next time you see me, I will actually still be in the same ensemble because we're recording a bunch of these in one day. Shout out to my boy Devin. What's up? I will be talking about a game that I was much more pleased to play, which is Mega Man, the Legacy Collection. So look out for that video. I'm going to keep sipping, trying to get better so we can have more videos and I can play more of these video games and board games that hopefully will not be as disappointing as it. Look, I tell you what, if somebody wants to play this game, you let me know, right? Put your address in the send me a private message with your ad, and I'll mail it to you. I'll mail it to you. You play the shit for free. And then if you hate that much, I will put a return envelope. You can send this shit right back to me. Okay? Alright, you didn't even gotta waste your $8. How about that? I've bitten the bullet. I have paid my little $8.98. You know, got my little 2 points on it on a little GameStop reward system. You know, there we go. So, you can have at it. So, until next time, for me and some Momo, yeah, I will. Oh, here at TRP, we will see you on the next one. Bye.